what's happened in the last video.
Don't come on me.
And here is more MrDudeManSir.
An irresistibly blinding morning glare struck my eyes. I wasn't able to stretch. Masha was sleeping on my left arm. I barely managed to pull my limb from under her head and massaged it for a long time, trying to restore the blood flow. Scratching my stubble, I reached for my shorts to find my cigarettes. Perhaps we shouldn't have gone that far yesterday after all. Now she definitely won't leave me alone. Well, probably not. That's not in her nature. But a bad aftertaste will still remain. And now she has an argument to scold me with, if I just give her one chance to. Yet another argument. It's not like she's short on them. Unable to find the cigarettes in my shorts, I thought that I must have left them behind in my cabin, so I clumsily dressed and went outside. Oh Lord, let it rain at last. It's possible to work in such an oven. And it's like this day and night and day. Rubbing my eyes, I plodded down the trail and didn't notice someone coming until they ran right into me. It was Router. I'm not used to that name. It was a Router. A Router is flying through the sky and has hit me in the head. "Hey, Semyon," says the Router. "Hey there, Mr. Router. I use you all the time. You give me great Wi-Fi." I shouted after him, because the Wi-Fi stopped. Finally I came to the cabin, opened the door and entertained. But just entered. Olga Dmitrievna was inside. She drilled me with her gaze. "Would you care to explain? What's the matter? Where did you spend the whole night?" She looked more than menacing. "I was with Masha. And what's the problem? After all, everyone got it already, so it makes absolutely no sense to hide it." "With who?" Olga Dmitrievna gave me a surprised glance. "With Masha," I repeated calmly. "We don't have any Mashas here." "What? What?" Now it's my turn to be surprised. "Semyon, your behavior has become becoming of a true pioneer." Are you shooting it already? But where are the cameras?" I grinned. "Semyon!" "Oh, come on." I headed to my bed and opened the drawer. However, my backpack wasn't there. Have you seen my backpack? My backpack? Is it, like, now real time? Is it, like, back to the camp? The regular camp? Is it? I'm not sure. I'm so confused about the timeline. She looked at me in surprise. "Yeah, it was here. But you arrived here without any luggage." "What?" I broke into a silly smile. "I still haven't finished yet." "Oh, Dmitrievna, I get that you're the finest of moods this morning and you have an eagerness to joke around, but how can I feel fine when a pioneer, a future Komsomol member, is acting like that? A pioneer? A Komsomol member? Something is definitely going wrong." "Oh, Dmitrievna, have you slept well? Are you okay? How dare you speak to me like that?" What's your problem?" "To sum up, you need to be at the lineup in a half an hour. As for me, I still need to find Miku." "Miku? It looks like they just want me to play a prank on us." "Ma'am, yes ma'am." I saluted and marched out of the cabin. Oh dear. So confusing. I had to go tell Masha. Share some laughter with her. I vigorously pushed the cabin's door open and I ran in. "Masha, you won't believe what they've..." Masha was sitting in the corner of her bed with an absolutely pale face, wrapping her arms around her legs. "What happened?" I leaped to her side. "Lena just came in and... Lena? But she wasn't planning to come for another 3 days. It wasn't our Lena. It was just something that looked like her." Masha was trembling, and an expression of horror was on her face. "Calm down, let's take it slowly." She was talking about some kind of lineup, cleaning up the grounds, about the library, about the music club. Her breathing came rapid. And it wasn't a joke, I'm sure of it. I recalled the recent conversation with Olga Dmitrievna at once. "Okay, calm down. I still haven't got a thing. It wasn't our Lena, it was a Lena from your script." She raised her tear-filled eyes to me. I understood right away that this wasn't a joke, and my courage vanished. "That's ridiculous. It can't just be..." Though, recalling the conversation with the director. No, I'm sure." She threw herself into my arms. I tried to calm her down. We have to think logically. It's just them trying to pull a prank on us, that's all. I was just talking to Olga Dmitrievna, and she's what? Also looking unusual to me? No, I can't just say that to Masha. In the end, they will have their laugh and then they quit. No, something has happened. Something horrible. I'm sure of it. Masha was sobbing in my arms. Okay, let's get down to it. Let's talk to someone. For example, to Router. Wait, every time I hear that name. He surely isn't a main stand-up comedian in our hood. To tell the truth, at this point, I wasn't interested in myself in finding out what kind of joke this was, when they could bring Masha, who was always calm and prepared for everything, to hysterics. Okay. She wiped away her tears and got up from the bed. You calm down now. I'm trying. Masha smiled faintly. Let's go. We left the cabin. Where to? Olga Dmitrievna was talking about some kind of lineup. Let's go to the square. Most likely they'll be there. Masha took my hand but would not let it go right away. But let it go. She let it go. I chose not to look in her direction because I already knew what expression she had on her face, and just headed to the square. A lineup, if that's the right term for people flocking around the monument, was quite crowded. I didn't recognize even half the people gathered here, and the fact was extremely strange on its own. Olga Dmitrievna tried to line them all up. I chose not to linger and went up to her. Olga Dmitrievna, you know... Oh, Miku is here too. She interrupted me. Excellent, we'll have to talk after the lineup. What lineup are you talking about? Isn't that enough playing games? For God's sake, it's not funny anymore. She looked at me in confusion. What are you talking about? About that! Masha cautiously looked at me from behind and back. Olga Dmitrievna, it really isn't funny anymore. I don't understand you two. Let's seriously get back to the shooting. What shooting? I looked at her attentively, for the first time realized that perhaps she wasn't joking. Olga Dmitrievna was never a decent actress, so I doubt that expression of surprise and incomprehension was fake. What a mess. Okay, let's assume. Tell us your version. Version of what? She was still blinking her eyes while looking at my mouth. I got it. I grabbed Masha by her arm and headed away from the square. Hey, hold on. Where are you going? We have to find someone less insane. Olga Dmitrievna's shouts followed us, but I didn't pay any attention. Soon enough, we reached the clubhouse. According to the script, it ought to be right here. Let's go. Masha didn't reply, just followed my lead. I opened the door and abruptly walked in. Router was there, as I have expected. Hey, Router. You still producing Wi-Fi? Oh, Semyon, and you're not alone. Hi there. Have you come to join our club? It seemed that there was something wrong with him, too. Why aren't you at the lineup? I asked mischievously. Well, I've got something to finish here. He's working on a Neko robot thing. Oh, whatever. Just tell us what's going on here. Am I missing something? Just like Olga Dmitrievna, he had stared at me with no sign of understanding. Why the heck is everyone around acting like we're real pioneers in a real pioneer camp? Isn't that the case? You know? Is it? Well, actually... What about the film? What film? The film, the one we're filming! Semyon, I don't really understand what you're talking about. It's only now that I realize that everyone around is calling me Semyon. Well, Sasha always called me Semyon-kun, too. But that was clearly a joke, while here... It's not a big thing, but my name is definitely not Semyon. I stepped back in horror and tripped over Masha. She let out a scream. And you, Miku. I wasn't listening. I snatched Masha's hand and ran out. I managed to halt only at the bus stop. As I turned around, I saw Masha gasping for breath. I let go of her hand and sat down on the edge of the road. Luckily, the two of us are in trouble. Yeah. Don't you get it? Everyone here behaves exactly the same as written in my script. She stared blankly at me for some time, then she recovered. Yeah, a fair, I guess. But why? Like I would know. So what are you gonna do? I don't know. Masha was on the edge of bursting into tears. Oh, stop it. I really have no idea. How can I come up with a ready-made solution in this situation? I understand, but after all, there is a possibility of it all being a silly joke. Well, an overdone one. But what if... Well, if... Then we'll act in coordinates with the circumstances. I sighed and quickly stood up. Let's go eat something, at least. I think that whatever's happening here, food will be served. Masha gave a barely noticeable smile and followed me. The canteen was jam-packed. Even at the lineup, I noticed that there were many more people there than there were yesterday. Did all these children really come here? To an abandoned camp? No, there's something really wrong about that. However, food was being distributed, so me and Masha took trays and sat down separately from the others. I ate intently, trying not to raise my head from up the plate and not to make it look around the peeps. However, it didn't help me much. In a couple of minutes, someone showed up near our table. Oh, hey, look, Lena. I barely managed to raise my eyes and saw Lena. Can I? She asked quietly. Yeah, suit yourself. Go ahead. While I was thinking as to how I should answer, Masha pulled out a chair beside me, by her, and invited Lena to sit down with a gesture. You weren't yourself this morning, you know, she began anxiously. Well, I got up on the wrong side of the bed. Masha laughed nervously. Lena glanced at me, then quickly looked away. So, how's it going? I started with more general questions. Fine. I see. I genuinely had no idea of what we can discuss with her. Plus, Lena indeed looked pretty odd. While she was usually fun and high spirits, now she looked extremely timid and shy. Did you hear anything about Slavia? What happened? Well, nobody has seen her since yesterday. It's like you two disappeared first, and now you're here, but Slavia's... She left long pauses after each of her sentences. I still didn't get it. Either it's completely perfect acting or being sitting. That's what messed me up. Being sitting in front of us wasn't our Lena. Nope. We haven't seen her. Well, I hope she'll be back eventually. Yeah, we hope so too. Slavia. Slavia indeed could lose her way in broad daylight. That's hardly surprising. I was just finishing eating the rubber like oatmeal, when suddenly Olga Dmitrievna ran into the canteen, waving her hands. She looked around emotionlessly, and after a glance at me, she finally headed towards our table at a fast walk. Oh, here you are. Let's go have a talk. She hissed below her breath right at my face. Seemed that objecting was not worth it, so I got up, nodded to Masha, and we headed after Olga Dmitrievna. After we got outside, she turned around abruptly and said, So, where were you last night? Should you care? I shrugged. I should. Did you know that Slavia's missing? Just heard that from Lena. Exactly. I went searching for her, and I found her. It looked like she was desperately fighting back tears. That's good news, then. Come, let me show you. She said quietly and headed in the direction of the forest. I looked at Masha. Maybe we shouldn't. What's wrong with it? However, my inner voice was agreeing with her. Alright then, but I'm afraid. Oh, no. Go back. Everything will be fine. Don't be sad. I tried smiling, but even without a mirror, it was obvious that my smile was so fake that it made me sick. Soon enough, we came to a small glade. There. Olga Dmitrievna pointed out a tree. What? I took a few steps and suddenly spotted a detached human arm. In fact, it wasn't even detached, more like it was been torn off. Masha peered out from behind my shoulder and screamed in terror straight away. And don't look. She burst into tears and rushed into Olga Dmitrievna's arms. I made a considerable effort. I had to look behind the tree to ensure that it was indeed Slavia. Body parts were lying there, an arm, a leg, ruptured in several places, a piece of flesh from the chest, a head, hair clotted with blood, and deeply sunken glassy eyes. I felt like vomiting and instinctively averted my gaze. Oh dear. Who did this? How would I know? Said Olga Dmitrievna in a surprisingly stone-cold voice. Throughout the camp, you're the only ones without an alibi. Masha continued to cry, now on my shoulder. What, you seriously think that we're able to do this? I gazed at her in fury. Now, it didn't matter how much that was happening here. Silly jokes or something more serious. A person had been murdered. A person who we knew. Slavia or Sasha. It made no difference. Well, no. She hesitated. But someone did it after all. I would say some wild animals. Probably wolves. There were never any wolves around. So you think a human could have done it? Well, there's no one else to blame. No, that makes no sense at all. It just can't. I hugged Masha tighter. Her sobbing became quieter. Anyway, we have to call the police. Of course we have to. Let's go. The district center is pretty far from the camp. The police won't get here anytime soon. And night was falling. I was sitting at the square and watching the sunset. Masha was sleeping in Olga Dmitrievna's cabin. It all shocked her more than us. For many reasons. There were two main questions on my mind. First, what is happening here? And second, who murdered Slavia? Or Sasha? Anyway, who is the murderer? The first one could be postponed for the time being. But I still had no clue how to deal with the second one. Despite all the confusion, the conclusion of her being savaged by wild beasts seemed to be the most reasonable explanation. I don't care if there are any wolves here or not. It could even be a bear or a badger, but certainly not a human. No one would be able to do something like that without additional tools. And the type of wounds made it clear that the unfortunate victim had been dismembered with bare hands or paws. Though it's true enough that an enraged human can gain nearly superhuman strength. But of all the people gathered here, who would be able to do something like that? Router? Lena? Maybe Olga Dmitrievna herself? No, that's stupid. But even so, there were many children apart from them in the canteen at the square. But am I really going to interrogate every single one of them? That's the job for the police. Then what's to be afraid of? Maybe I'm not afraid for myself. But for Masha. Right, I need to check how she's doing. I was just about to get up when suddenly I sensed someone's presence. Oh, hey, look. I looked back at Lena. Oh, I didn't mean to scare you. It's okay. Can I sit here? Yeah, sit down, please. She fixed her shirt with a neck move, sat down, and started staring at the sunset. How sad this all is. Yeah, not much to rejoice about. What do you think? Who could have done that? How should I know? Certainly not me. No, it's not like I suspect you or anything. She began waving her hands in a funny manner. Well, thanks for that. I smirked sadly. But that must have been by a very cruel, very evil person. Well, not necessarily. Lena glanced at me in confusion. Maybe it's one of the off-delusion, after all, and everyday life maniacs can be nice as a people. So, are you saying that? Her eyes widened, her jaw dropped a bit. That it could have been by any one of us? Well, I'm not asserting that, that's for sure. But the circle of the suspects is quite large. No, none of the children could have done that. No one. Anyway, it's up to the police to deal with it. We spent some more time sitting in silence. I was about to leave when Lena suddenly whispered to me. Or could you? What? An unnatural grin appeared on her face. The devil's grin, so I thought. Could you have murdered Slavia? Of course not. But you two didn't get along very well. Why do you think so? We were getting along just fine. It suddenly became clear that Lena, most likely, is talking about me. More precisely, not the me from yesterday. And not the Slavia whose name is Sasha. I was sure about that. No, it wasn't me. Okay, relax. I'm not accusing you. She gave me a look, and for a second her eyes seemed red to me. Maybe it was just the reflection of the sunset. I'm glad you got everything right. But it was you who said that everyone is worth suspecting. I didn't tell you to suspect everyone. I meant that we didn't know who the criminal is, yet. Now I see. Well, I hope you don't become the next victim. Or I. Lena said loudly and burst in laughing. The way she did it gave me the creeps. Okay, it's time to go. She got up and swiftly left the square. I chose not to linger and headed to Olga Dmitrievna's cabin. It was now completely dark. Masha was still sleeping, so I decided not to wake her and quietly climbed in next to her. Our director, or the camp leader, as the local residents keep referring to her, was still nowhere to be seen. If she enters now, it was all very uncomfortable. Well, it might, at the very least. Anyway, who cares? A person has been murdered. It's not the time for such trifles. And anyway, we still have to find out what's going on. Why does everyone keep acting like they're pioneers? It seems to me that until it becomes clear who the real criminal is, the whole ridiculous carnival won't stop. The real question was, what is the cause and what is the effect? Either everyone keeps pretending because Slavia was murdered. I still couldn't accept that Sasha was the victim, or I kept telling myself that it was indeed Slavia. Or Slavia was killed because everyone keeps pretending. Dang it, I lost entirely, and such brainstorming is not going to get me anywhere. The door creaked faintly. Cautiously, I rose on my elbows a bit and peered into the darkness. A few torturous moments passed, but ultimately no one came in. Well, I guess it's no use as to lie down and wait. Right now, it's probably just the wind blowing or something like that. But this late at night, when everyone's asleep? I stood up, grabbed my trousers in the dark, and looked around. It was hardly probable, that might be something that could be used in the means of self-defense here. But I at least had to give it a try. Rummaging through the cabin's contents, I stumbled upon a locked jar inside the cabinet. Sure, I'd love to find a gun or some sort of heavy crowbar there. However, I totally understood that I was really to hold a breath for one. Well, I really shouldn't. But it had to be locked for a reason. I pushed the cabinet from the wall, estimating where exactly on the backside the drawer was, and I gave it a sharp and precise, so I would not make Masha up, kick with my leg. The plywood cracked, and some things spilled forth from the drawer. Underwear. More underwear. Matches. Oh, they might just come in handy. I shoved the matchbox into my pocket. Oh, I thought he was going to shove the panties into the pocket. At the same time, I heard some strange noises from the outside door, as if some wild animal was scratching on it. Surely if that was a real criminal, I won't stand a chance against them. But one shouldn't shrug off the possibility that it was the work of a local pioneer, who may have gone crazy or is just insane from the start. Anyway, I should still be able to knock out any of the local residents, even if he came at me with a knife. Thinking about the weapon gave me the creeps. Maybe it was Shirk. It could be Shirk. I don't know. No, I shouldn't be so overconfident. If I get into an encounter with someone who is, for example, armed with a knife, then I must just shut the door, barricade all the entrances, and wait for help. You probably couldn't get a hold of a firearm here. Although... The door creaked once more and opened up about an inch. I closed my eyes for a second and violently pulled it open, gathering all my strength. Oh, hey. It was, I heard a choke scream and saw Alyssa, spread-eagled on the doorstep. Oh, it's just you. I heaved a sigh of relief. Don't scare people like that. Want me to give me a heart attack? Hey, did it literally say want me to give me a heart attack? That grammar, though. She got up, dusted her clothes off slowly, and glanced at me guiltily. I'm sorry. It's fine. It's just... It could be more dangerous to walk alone around the camp during night, with all that stuff that's happening. I stopped short. Happening implies an ongoing process, as if someone was still going to happen. Happened. That's why I came. Alyssa was looking at the ground and trembling slightly. It's already late, but Olyana is still nowhere to be seen. She raised her eyebrows to me, and I saw tears running down her cheeks. Where could she have gone? It wasn't like I really concerned, but I asked because I felt if I had to calm the situation. It was perfectly clear that there's absolutely nothing to do in a camp at night. If there's electricity available, then everyone watches movies on their laptops. If not, then just read books by candlelight. Wandering under the moon shouldn't be on that list. I don't know. Okay, let's think through it without any fuss. I walked over to the table and picked up the clock. It's midnight. Sure, everyone should be already in the cabins by this time. A scary thought suddenly flashed in my mind. Where's Olga Dmitrievna? Let's go outside and talk there. Don't want us to wake up Miku. As we went out, I took my place by the stairs and started to think. Alyssa stood beside me, wriggling her hands with a pained look on her face as she watched the full moon rise. We have to call the police. We've already called them. But back then it was only Slavia, and now it's also Olyana. And Olga Dmitrievna, have you seen her? No, but what, is she too... Alyssa burst into tears. We still don't know anything, but nevertheless, it's clear that something's going on here. Even if not just pretending to be pioneers, there's something really has to happen in this world. Right now I could have a quite good chance of departing from it without getting any answers for my questions. So I have to focus on survival. You know, survival. The word hit me like a sharp pain in the back of the head. Survival. Just yesterday I didn't even get the slightest consideration to anything like that. The quiet summer night has reigned over everything around us. Not a breath of wind, not a rustle of grass, or a whisper of moving leaves can be heard. Nothing. Just the reflection of the moonlight in the cabin's windows. Sparse clouds up in the sky, and yet impenetrable darkness all around. They say that when you gaze into the abyss also gazes down at you. And the grasshoppers. These dang critters are pulling a double shift of DJing. As if they're constantly on duty. As the day shift winds up, the night shift. Who got enough sleep begins. Then the night ones knock off, and I have to find some insecticide after all. At least I can't wipe on a couple of divisions. With any luck, that will get me some quiet living space around the cabin. Sure, I can't destroy them all. What the heck, there's probably more of them there than humans in the entire world. Can you hear it? Alyssa sat down and huddled up against me. Her entire body was trembling. What? I strained my ears. It seems that someone was slowly walking down the path to our cabin. I couldn't make anything out in the dark, but the steps grew more and more audible with every second. Okay, don't sweat it. He won't dare to attack the two of us. Although I really wasn't sure about that. My hands instinctively started searching for something I could use to defend myself. Hey! Okay. Sure. Soon enough I found a piece of water pipe under the bench. It's not much help, of course. It's way too thick and uncomfortable to wield properly, but it's still better than going out empty-handed. The mere sight of this monstrosity would make anyone else pee themselves. Most likely from laughter. There's nothing I can do. We're as good as sitting ducks here, so I'd rather move out towards the enemy. I couldn't say that I was bursting with courage and valor. In fact, it was quite the opposite. I was really freaking out. It just seemed that I had no other choice. I took a deep breath and slowly headed into the darkness. Soon enough I could make out with more features of the strangest silhouette. Not very tall, weird hairstyle, a skirt. Oh no! Oh, okay. I thought it was gonna be, Miku. I was gonna be like, whoa! Plot twist! But no, it's just Lena. I lowered my guard. What are you doing here this late at night? Lena's face was stained with tears. Come on. I led her to Alyssa. As Lena was coming back from her senses, she tried to explain what happened. I was just sitting alone, and it's already quite late, but Mika's still missing. Yet what happened to Slavia? And I still couldn't reconcile the image of Lena, the sobbing girl sitting in front of me, with the one that I saw at the square a few hours ago, with the grin of the devil and hellish flames in her eyes. Maybe it was just my imagination, or maybe not. By any chance, do you know where Olyana and Olga Dmitrievna are? She raised her surprised eyes to me. No, why? Are they also missing? Well, so far we can't be sure. Semyon. At first I didn't realize that she was addressing me. Huh. Don't you think that it's way too quiet in the camp? It's night. Everyone's sleeping, aren't they? I strained my ears. Indeed, there were no sounds besides these dang grasshoppers. I mean, no sounds whatsoever. What is this place usually like? Quiet, whispered Lena. Quiet, but not this quiet. I couldn't let this girls fall into panic, although I was starting to freak myself out. Yet there were a lot of reasons to. Humans disappearing into thin air, horrible murders, friends that pretend to be the pioneers until the very end. I was ready to lose it. Okay, let's think rationally. The girls gave me a few questioning looks. People can't just disappear without a trace. That means... No, it doesn't mean anything. Suddenly we heard a rustle in the bushes behind the cabin. Before I could even grab my pipe, Router emerged from the darkness. Ah, there you are. You didn't seem to be all that concerned by all the stuff happening around. Oh Lord, stop jumping out at people like that. The girls are going to have a heart attack at this rate. Although I wasn't sure who was more frightened, them or me. Yeah, I apologize. I'm sorry. Why have you come? Have you seen Shurk? We haven't. It looks like half the people in this camp just disappeared in the last few hours. Plus, it's too quiet around here. We noticed that already. There's no light anywhere. Dead silence. Oh, don't you stop whipping up the tension here. I feel sick already. I'm going to guess it's definitely Shurk on the loose here. He's going haywire. Maybe it's because before the entire weird timeline trip thing, when I went down to the building, maybe because I didn't actually bring Shurk back, some weird timeline butterfly effect thing happened, and then now he's went completely insane and is going and killing everyone. I'm not sure. What am I doing? I'm not doing anything. He flashed a mysterious smile that gave me the creeps. Okay, you stay here. I'm going to go scout around the camp. Alone? Yeah, that probably wasn't the exact brightest idea. I had to think first, then speak. I'll go with you. Okay, then you just stay here. And don't forget that Niku was sleeping in the cabin. Sir, yes, sir. What a dirk. If you gave me that dopey smile in any other situation. About half an hour later, our search brought us to the square. All the cabins were empty. Looks like there were only 5 of us left in the camp. I limped along with that pipe of mine. I appeared to be so lightweight at first, but after carrying it for some time, I've learned that the only one can get worn out even after carrying a bag of feathers. Where on earth is everyone? Alyssa appeared to be more or less calm. The horror of the first minutes, when we were going from one empty cabin to another, had already passed. Well, at least we can be sure that it's not the same case, as whatever happened to Slavia, of course. Why is that? Just think. Where are the bodies? I said in a whisper, fearful of scaring her. But where is everyone then? Disappeared? Hardly a credible explanation. But if you think about it, nothing whatsoever that's happened during the last 24 hours has been credible. They couldn't just go and... just like that. It's not like anything up to us now anyway. And in any case, tomorrow is still another day. I tried to put on a smile. Let's rejoin the others. Yeah. I agreed to listen with a hint of indecisiveness. We had only taken a few steps when a rustle in the bushes came from behind. Instantly turned around and peered towards the source of the sound. Alyssa clung to my hand so hard it hurt, and I tightened my grip on the pipe. Who's there? No idea. I strained my eyes, but still couldn't make anything out in the darkness. Hey! I had no idea what to do next. The rustling suddenly cut off, and the night returned just to the usual cricket fiddling. Could it be some wild animal? I wondered with a feeling of insecurity. Wild animal? She gripped my hand even tighter. But there are no wild animals around here. A squirrel, for example? I don't know. A squirrel. Yeah, a squirrel. Well, maybe. Shall we go? Yeah. A minute later, we were approaching Olga Dmitrievna's cabin. Router and Lena remained silent and just shuddered slightly when they saw us. So how is it? No one out there. What do you mean, no one? Everyone's gone, said Alyssa through her tears. Girls rushed into each other's arms as I sat down next to Router, finally dropping that abhorrent pipe of mine onto the ground. It's just that simple. Just that simple. But how? I really don't know. Maybe it's an alien abduction. What nonsense. Wanna play Detective Sherlock? Well, it could be the same maniac. It's kind of. Way too much for one man, don't you think so? I guess you're right, but who? What is it then? It still could turn out to be just a stupid prank. And Slavia too? It's all just a stupid prank? No, she was definitely murdered by someone. By who? She gave me a narrow gaze. I have no idea. Maybe it was New-chan. I was starting to get wound up. Or you. Well, not me for sure. How can you prove it? Why on earth would I have to explain myself to you? You're the only one without an alibi. So you have an alibi, eh? I was in my cabin at night. Sure, can prove it. Sure, but Shurik's temporarily unavailable, so he's not in the... He's not in the old haunted cabin, apparently. Router gritted his teeth and turned away. Anyway, I'm the one with the alibi here. I'm not going to justify myself here. I'm sure about myself. It's great to believe in yourself. I'm also sure about myself. And Miku can prove it to me right. I was with her all the time. Not exactly the best Swissness. Just as good as yours. I have no idea how long we could have argued like that if Lena hadn't intervened in the conversation. Boys, come on, that's enough. You're right, sorry. Yeah. Indeed, now is not the best time for something like this. Anyway, we should stick together. What help keep us from disappearing? Asked Alyssa timidly. I'm not sure about all the disappearance stuff, but at least it should help us stay alive. I glanced at my watch. It's almost 4 o'clock. The sun will be rising soon. Okay, squad. Time to hit the hay, or we're gonna end up totally wiped out. But, no buts. Nobody else tried to object, and we entered our cabin quietly. What's happening? Seems like we woke Masha up. It's okay. Keep sleeping. But she was already sitting up in the bed, staring blankly at our little party. Well, you see, they're all gone. Disappeared. Everyone's gone. Lena burst into tears and flung her arms around Masha's neck. What's going on? Can you speak clearly? Well, long story short, I cracked my neck and compulsively reached for the cigarettes in my pocket. Finding none, I heaved a sigh of frustration and said, "It looks like there's just 5 of us left in this camp, meaning everyone in this room. Rejoice, Captain Obvious has returned. You're going to keep watch first." Eh? Oh, nothing. Do you really think that it's safe for everyone to sleep at the same time? Well, it isn't, but... Exactly. I handed him the pipe and slowly approached the bed where Lena was still sobbing in Masha's arms. Well, if you don't mind. I slipped my boots off, climbed over the girls, and turned towards the wall. But how? Anyhow, sleep. I was so exhausted both physically and, more importantly, emotionally, that I was unable to do anything, think anything, communicate with anybody. I was desperate to keep some sleep. Way too desperate. Masha's whispers, Lena's sobs, Alyssa's voice, all that was somehow melted in one quiet lullaby, so I fell asleep. I was forcibly awakened by someone doing their best to shake me. Physically shake me, that is. Router was leaning over me and nudging my shoulder. Wow. It's your turn now. How long have I slept? About an hour. Only an hour? Stay on your watch. I'm already dozing off, man. Yeah, an infinite power source wouldn't do it for Router. Although it wouldn't hurt me either. I rose with considerable effort, climbing over Lena and Masha, who slept with their arms around each other, and jumped down to the floor. The room seemed slightly brighter. The morning's coming. Yeah. Router tried to get to my place, but I grabbed him by the collar, threw him down on the floor, and gave him a blanket and a pillow. So you can. And you cannot. Come to think of it, why can't he? Anyway, it's not that important now. I took the chair and dragged it into the floor, sat down, and started to wait. Anticipation seemed to be the best word to describe what I was feeling. Any moment now, that door would burst open, and the maniac would break into the room. Or the last residents of the camp would disappear. Or I will disappear. In any case, something will happen. I deeply felt that. Router was snoring off his head. The girls were sleeping securely, and I was starting to doze off too. I clenched the pipe harder. The feeling of cold metal against my bare skin somehow brought me back to my senses. I must not sleep. I'm their only hope now. And my own too. But it's so hard to resist. Just a couple minutes. My eyes seemed to have life of their opening and closing spontaneously as a mind wandered. Rustling came from behind the door. No, I must have imagined that. It's just those dang grasshoppers. What are they still up to? Maybe it's the grasshoppers to blame. They fell upon this camp like a swarm of locusts and devoured everybody. A vision of me being devoured by grasshoppers unfolded by my mind. A disgusting storm was brewing in my head. Their long legs, their wings, a huge head and the eyes, filled with darkness. Eyes reflecting in the abyss. Just like a grasshopper in the eye, and you'll never see them again. That's how it happens. I'm running away, and they're after me. There are thousands of them. Millions. I'm desperately jumping over the pits and gullies, climbing hills and rocks. They don't care. They've got wings. Yeah, these filthy wings that make a nasty rattle. Probably they would need their teeth anyway. They just have to flap these horrible wings faster and faster, summoning the sonic wave of the apocalypse. No, I just can't block out this hellish noise anymore. I'm falling, desperately trying to cover my ears with my hands. Please stop it, somebody.